Hey, let's do it for a little bit cheaper this time. Stick around, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Recently I did a video about a Reuben casserole and it turned out really good, and I enjoyed it, I loved it, and I got to thinking, man, can I make this a little bit cheaper? And so I've kind of modified it a little bit and made it, instead of a casserole, I've made it into a meatloaf dish. And the best thing about this is it's easy to slice up and take to lunch and do some prepping with, or food prepping with. So yeah, stay with me and watch this. All right, let's talk about these ingredients real fast. Not a whole lot here, it just looks like it. We've got 1/4 cup of mayo, we've got 1/4 cup of sour cream, we've got 2 cups of sauerkraut, or kraut, however you want to say it. But anyway, drain off the excess water of that. We've got 1 cup of mozzarella. We've got a cup of pork rinds, grated pork rinds, a teaspoon of garlic, and a teaspoon of onion. I use a blend just to put those two together, and a little hot pepper in mine, but tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a teaspoon of caraway seeds, and the secret ingredient to this blue collar Reuben meatloaf is canned corned beef. You can choose whichever brand you like, but this here is just as good as any based on my experience. And a Reuben is just not a Reuben without Swiss cheese. Even got the holes in it, looky there. Anyway, get you a pack of Swiss cheese and we'll just put that in there as well. So, okay, first let me just make a little point about the caraway seeds. Caraway seeds is what gives rye bread its unique flavor, or at least one of them. And the best way to deal with, you can crush them with your hands, but if you got one of these mortar and pestles here, you can use this, but I just put a little bit in there and just hit it with this. This really makes a big difference. I know it's a little different than what I normally do, but if you got a coffee grinder or spice grinder, you can put them in that and it really brings out the flavor of that. So that's just a little tip today for that. So the next thing, the next tip is, if you refrigerate this for just a little while before you get it out of the can, you can slice it better. I'm going to slice these up so they'll brown on both sides, give me a little more crust on them. So I'm going to put this in the fridge, chill it, and we'll slice it up. All right, I've sliced up my corned beef. It's in here cooking up, and the thing about this is you just need to leave it alone for several minutes. You can see it getting brown. You'll know when it's time to turn when you can see it getting brown coming up the side a little bit. But really, I just want the crust. That's the main thing on it. So it'll fall apart. We're going to tear it apart anyway. But okay, the next step is get you a meatloaf pan. I have got a silicone pan, the mold, that works awesome for these kind of things. Ever since I've bought these, I have not regretted it. There's a link in the description. You can see where to get some at. But it makes life so much easier. But in this mold, I'm going to be dumping it out upside down when I'm done. So the bottom's going to be the top, all right? If you're doing a regular meatloaf, then you can top it however you want to. But the main thing we want to do is just start layering things up. And the first thing I'm going to put in here is just a little bit of pork rinds. And I'm going to kind of slosh that around in there to make it a nice even. This is going to be the top crust. And I'm going to put some on the bottom as well, but it's just to give it a little texture and flavor. And I got Italian pork rinds, and it looks neat. So we've got that in there. The next thing I'm going to put in, and you can layer yours however you want to. This is creator's choice right here, so you can do it how you want to. Main thing is get it in the pan. I'm going to put a little bit of the mozzarella in there. And then I'm going to just get me some sauerkraut and drizzle around in that. Make a nice little layer, like that. And then I'm going to add some corned beef. Now that's what it looks like out of the pan. I got a little crispy, and so I like a little crust on it, but I'm going to kind of just spread that around in there a little bit, like this. All right. And then I'm going to start layering in some mozzarella. I mean, not mozzarella, but the Swiss. I'm going to put the Swiss on it, like that. And then I'm gonna pour in some of the sauce. Put that sauce in there. That's magical stuff right there. And you don't have to worry about it. Just try to fill up all the pockets with cheese, sauce, meat, or something, okay? Because it's all gonna melt together. And then I'm gonna start my next layer. Basically, I'm gonna do some more sauerkraut this time. And man, when I was growing up, I would never ate sauerkraut until I tried a Reuben sandwich. And it changed my whole outlook on sauerkraut. I mean, I'm not gonna eat it out of the jar, but I certainly like it in things like this. So, bit of more corned beef in there. Now you can use sliced corned beef, but sliced corned beef, listen, it's pretty expensive. And if you want to make your own, that would be even better, but I'm just going the more economical route here. I've done a whole series on corned beef here lately, so I'm just using some that I had left from another video. Now you see that video where I do taste testing of all these different corned beefs in the past, so I'll put that down in the bottom, and if you're interested and want to see what that was about. But we just putting it in. I love that sauce. That caraway seed in there is so good. Let me put some of this in there. You can see I'm not being real particular about all this. I'm just trying to get it in the pan, so like I said, it's all going to melt together and be delicious. If you think about it, how about hitting the like and subscribe button down there if you're interested in a keto, low carb lifestyle, or you just like good food, man. That's what it's really about. Usually I try to do things as fast and easy and affordable. So keep on watching and we'll continue. And we're going to top it off again with a little more pork rinds here. And like I said, you don't have to use those, but it just kind of makes it look a little better. So that way coming out of the oven it looks good, and when you flip it upside down it looks good. Alright, the oven's preheated at 350, and basically what we're going to do is put this in there. Everything's already pre-cooked and everything. We're just going to cook it up till it's bubbly in the middle. And usually it takes about 25 minutes or something like that. So let's get this in the oven and have some Reuben meatloaf. Alright, here we have our Reuben meatloaf. And I put it in the fridge for a little while to let it set up, to slice it nice and neat. That helps to refrigerate it. And then after that, we're just going to turn it over and plop it out. So it'll come right out, should. All right, you ready for the big unveiling? Here it is, straight out of the pan. Taste test time. Now, I originally come up with this idea because I'd done a Reuben casserole, and I'd also done a video on canned corned beef of all things. So I just figured I would make the best of the both of them and see what we come up with. So let's dig in and see how this goes. Man, you can really taste the tanginess of the sauerkraut and that sauce we put in there. The corned beef does not taste like canned corned beef now. I eat a lot of canned corned beef for breakfast with eggs and stuff, but that gives it a completely different texture. And man, I like that. Yep, come to find out, that was really easy, and I took it to lunch. I sliced it up, put it in baggies, and took it to lunch, and I love it. So I'm gonna be making that on a regular basis. So enjoy you some Reuben loaf, and until next time, may the Lord bless you.